Oh, hey. Didn't expect to see you here. Yeah, I'm just returning some books. I like to read a lot. Really, they say that a mind is a terrible thing to waste. And I really I live by that maxim. I don't want to waste my mind because it's like you only get one mind. And if you don't use that, what other mind will you use? I can't use your mind. I can't use someone down the street, their mind. That's theirs. God gave them their mind. He gave me mine, and my mind is my responsibility. It's not my responsibility if someone else is a ding dong. That's not my responsibility. So, anyway, um, but anyway, I was here and my phone, I forgot to turn it off. And then I pulled it out and I was turning off the ringer at least because, I actually don't always turn it off in a movie theater or at a concert or whatever. At concerts, they say turn it off because you don't want to be loud, distract from the music. So I turned it off, or excuse me, I was going to, and then I see a text from it was a friend. It's a friend of mine I've been talking to for a while, but she's a friend. She's just a friend. My friends make fun of me, and they say like, "Oh, you guys, lover boy," and it's all this silly stuff. It's fun. It's funny, but they yeah, sometimes it annoys me though, and I'm like, guys, this is too much. Okay, just leave me alone, please. Okay, I've had a hard day, and so she sent me a text, and usually I'm really happy, excited to see one from her, but just only because she's fun to talk to. We just have a bond, It's just one of those things, and so I'm in the library. This just happened like an hour ago. I'm sitting here and I pull out my phone and I don't think twice about it. Didn't even think once about it, to be honest. That was a joke. And then I open it and it's a picture of her boobs. And I was like, what? What? I laughed at first because I just couldn't believe it. And I felt really uncomfortable after, actually. And I looked around. I don't think anyone saw it, but it may have showed up on the security cameras, which could be a problem because there are children in that library, and I don't want to have my borrowing privileges revoked. I can't afford to go back to school right now, and the internet access on my phone is spotty at best, and I need to always have. I just am an information addict. I'm a junkie, and I need to always have some source of reading materials around me. And so if I lose the access to that, I can only go maybe to Barnes and Nobles to read. But they close at 9. And, I'm a bit of a night owl. Except when I have to work. Hate it. But but it's good. It's good. Work keeps you sane and it keeps you off the streets. That's the most important part. Okay. And we'll talk about that later. But so anyway, I text her and back and I say, what's this? What's this a picture of? I don't get it. And she said, what's there to get, silly? These are my boobs. Have you never seen any before? And I was like, of course I've seen them before. I have them. And then I was like, but for real, why did you send them to me? I don't get it. I'm confused. And she said, I thought you would be happy. I just thought you would want to see them. Aren't you happy that I sent you my boobs? And I said, they look great. I'm not upset. I just thought we were just friends. I don't understand why why would you send them to me? And I got really uncomfortable. Again, um, I yeah, it was hard for me to talk to her even about it, but I had to because if I didn't write back, then it would be even more awkward next time I talked to her. If I saw her again, oh my god, that would be so awkward. And so I try not to use the Lord's name in vain, by the way, but he was communicating with me recently in the still small voice of the Spirit that it to him it's like, all the stuff you had drilled into you about don't use the Lord's name in vain. That came from the notion of there being a jealous God, and why would God be jealous? He was telling me, why would I be jealous? What is there to be jealous of? Only haters are jealous. Okay, haters and losers are jealous because they know that others have more than them. Isn't that the whole point of jealousy? I mean, I don't get it. When you think about God, he owns everything. If he's the God you believe in, then that would be the case. He would own everything. Maybe he's different than that. Maybe we're all God. I don't know. All I know is it doesn't make any sense to say that God is jealous and that he's offended when you take his name in vain. What does that mean, in vain? Okay? Anyway, so I was like, oh my God, I have to text her back again. And then I waited a while because I didn't know how to respond because she kind of put me on the spot, and I was like, well, I do like your boobs. They do look good. I may use this picture later. Can't tell you what for exactly, but I feel like it'll be awkward when I see you next time because, I just thought that we had a platonic friendship, maybe a neoplatonic friendship, because the older ones were, I don't know, they were a little too influenced by the school of Pythagoras, and I do prefer the developments that occurred through Middle Platonism onto Neoplatonism, but I'm not really a mystic. I do talk to God, but I don't really know much about the spheres and the music of the spheres and the realm of ideas, I think is what they called it. I did take a philosophy class at junior college, and we got through about the first 5 chapters. So I do know Philosophy 101 material, usually, but it does get a little confusing. Anyway, so back to my friend. So I was like, we have maybe a Neoplatonic friendship. It's, Platonic friendships for the modern age. And she said, well, I thought maybe you wanted more. You just seemed like you were really interested in me. You always text me, and I text you. I like it. And then, yeah, I just I don't know. I haven't written back yet since then, and that was about half an hour ago. I'm just really nervous now. To be honest, I almost had a full blown panic attack in the bathroom here, and then I just said, "Get a hold of yourself, you you silly goose," and I splashed some water in my face, and it was okay. It was okay, and I did my mantras, and I did use my prayer beads this time. Well, not prayer beads. Ugh, don't call them that. Don't call them that. My beads. I used my beads. Like Ram Dass. I love Ram Dass. May he rest in peace. Bad habit again. But anyway, so I used the beads, and not him, but his teachings and his demeanor and his just gentle spirit and his equanimity, it just overwhelmed me at that moment, but not overwhelmed because I was overwhelmed, and then that's why I needed that, because I was actually panicking. I was anxious, and I'm very anxious, and I did not need to go to the hospital again. I just went back to work, and if they find out that I got injected with Ativan again because I was freaking out, and the clamps that they had on my arms were not enough to restrain me, then that could be a problem. And, they don't need to know that. Why do they need to be up in my business like that? But I do have a very nosy boss. Or somebody, I don't know who it is, somebody in administration. They do have direct access to my medical records. I don't know how. I thought those were protected by HIPAA. They're protected by HIPAA. Is it HIPAA? I don't know. It's an acronym, but it's so confusing. I think there's either 2 P's or 2 I's or 2 A's. I never can remember. Probably not 2 H's, because that wouldn't make very much sense. Don't believe the HIPAA. That was a joke. That was on purpose right now. Because they will leak your medical records for the right price. And if there's anything I know about my higher-ups, it's that they do have money. They certainly have more than me. And that's actually why I've been afraid about having a relationship that isn't just simply platonic. It's because because money is expensive where I live. Money is just very expensive these days. And I don't have a lot of it. So I'm just focusing on me right now. I have my own shit to work through. Yes, I said it this time, and I didn't even apologize, because it's not as bad as the F word on the hierarchy of cuss words. I do think Aristotle, he did speak of the hierarchy in his logics of cussing and profanity, and there's a chain in nature of profanities, and one of them is shit, of course, as we all know. It's higher than the middle, but it's not at the top. So I let it slide sometimes, and I just say, you've earned this. You've earned this. Take a load off, buddy. So anyway, back to, I just am trying to focus on me right now. A lot of memes I've seen tell you to do that, and I feel like it is good advice. And I feel like it's what God has been leading me to do. And I always do better when I focus on me. Now, that doesn't mean I focus on me to the exclusion of my friends and family, and even just strangers in need. I'm very concerned about them too. And, but if I don't focus on me first, how can I help anyone else? It's just, it's basically a law of nature, maybe a law of logic. I'll have to sit on that one for a while. I'll have to sit with it. Sit with my thoughts and meditate on that. And I think maybe I will understand it better. But I have to go. I have not showered all day, and the day is almost over, and I feel like it's been a bit of a waste. I didn't mean to come to the library without showering first, but I just am such a seeker after knowledge. I just couldn't wait to get down to the library this morning. So I've been here all day. I haven't really eaten either. Probably should to settle my stomach because, anyway, we won't talk about that right now. So anyway, have a fun time. I will see you here next time I'm here, and we will catch you up on everything that we were talking about today. And maybe I'll have resolved this whole issue with the boob pictures. Can't say I've ever encountered this problem before. It's uncharted territory for me. So thank you so much for listening. I feel so much better now. Thank you. Wow. What a relief that was. Oh my God. Oh my gosh.